It's time we provide a earnings outlook for AMC stock and give you guys some analyst commentary. What is important for AMC earnings? What is not? What's going to drive the stock and where could the stock go after they report earnings this Friday? Now, we're going to jump straight into it with this article. It came out 2 hours ago. There's a lot of good points that they make in this article, so we're not going to read word for word everything that is said in this article, but more or less talk about the important things that are in this article. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Tyler, the Creative Investor, TCI, whatever you want to call me is fine by me. If you guys are interested in growing your net worth, learning how to trade and invest in these markets and stay up to date with everything currently going on, broadly speaking, in the markets, as well as with stocks such as AMC that offer you a potential to make a lot of money, this is your place to be, and I highly recommend you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Now, keep in mind, none of this is financial advice. Anything can happen, especially in stocks like AMC. It's usually not cut and dry the same way other stocks are. Wacky things have happened in this name over the last 2 years. So, this article, headlined, should you buy AMC stock ahead of Q1 earnings? AMC's first quarter earnings report is just around the corner. Should investors buy shares of the theater chain before the big day? Now, AMC is expected to deliver a loss per share of 17 cents, which would be a 73% improvement from the 65-cent per share loss it reported in the same quarter of 2022. The consensus is that AMC will report revenue of $937 million. That would represent growth of nearly 20% compared to the same quarter last year. However, Wall Street's expectations for AMC and the bottom line have been lower than reality. For an example, last year AMC's earnings per share beat estimates in every quarter, most notably in the holiday quarter, where the movie theater company surprised Wall Street by about 35%. Now, what's interesting about the holiday quarter is that is Q4 2022. When did Avatar come out? Well, that was December 16th of 2022. So most of Avatar's numbers, believe it or not, will be reported in this quarter, as well as some other movies that have also done exceptionally well that we'll talk about here in this video, probably later on throughout this video. Now, the company is still expected to report revenue well below the pandemic levels. From 2018 until 2020, AMC's revenue hovered around $1.2 billion for each quarter. This is what I find very insightful. CEO Adam Aron commented on last earnings call, based on initial Q1 2023 box office results through February 28th, ticket sales were up 44% year over year. A lot of this were probably from names such as Avatar. Now, Adam Aron also hinted that the domestic box office in 2023 should be significantly higher than 2022. Now, Avatar: The Way of Water generated a gross of about $280 million in the first quarter, according to Box Office Mojo. Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania, and Creed 3 were also top earners, bringing in $211 million and $145 million respectively. And you guys can see these numbers here. Creed 3 came out March 3rd, so you're going to get a lot of those numbers reported in the Q1 numbers as well. All of these movies, really. Jesus Revolution, Cocaine Bear, A Man Called Otto, Scream, Megan, and that film actually did very well compared to the expectations that was expected for them. John Wick Chapter 4, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, that one also did very well based off of the expectations that people had. Really, all of these films have done better than their expectations. Yeah, Creed 3, Ant-Man, like I said, and Avatar: Way of Water. AMC estimates that about 30 or more films will gross more than $100 million in 2023, compared to only 18 that did so in 2022. That's a 75% improvement. Now, AMC's balance sheet, where that is going to be huge for AMC and really what happens with AMC's share price, because like we talked about over this weekend, a lot of shorts right now, they're faced with a difficult decision. Do they either cover on their short positions, accept the fact they lost on this arbitrage trade? Do they hedge out their positions, aka buy AMC stock or buy some calls on AMC? Or do they do nothing? And to do nothing means that you're taking massive losses in the meantime, but with the ideology of doing nothing, you either expect this ultimately the reverse split to go through, and AMC is not going to go much higher from here, which I don't think a lot of hedge funds have that as their base case. That would be a real lack of risk management, but who knows? You see First Republic, Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, these other institutions going bankrupt recently. They don't always think with their minds, right? They don't always think with their brains. Now, another thing I could say to that is if some of these hedge funds are betting that AMC would go bankrupt without this reverse split. If that were to happen, you could make an argument to not hedge or not cover a short position. If ultimately you are just faced with a short squeeze and then the stock goes bankrupt. I mean, what's the big deal to cover on your short position if the stock's going to go bankrupt? And I think that's why this report of AMC's balance sheet is going to be so important. That could be the deciding factor for some hedge funds to hedge out their short positions in AMC or to outright cover on those short positions. Now, the expectations are for AMC to report a significant reduction in its outstanding debt during the first quarter. The company raised approximately $84.7 million in gross equity proceeds through the private sale of its AMC preferred equity APE units. In the first few months of this year, AMC managed to reduce its outstanding debt of about $10 billion by $170.2 million, primarily through the exchange of debt into equity. Considering AMC reduced its liabilities by $378 million in 2022, and including the reduction in deferred rent liabilities until the end of February 2023, this would mean AMC reduced its total debt to $548 million. And keep in mind that AMC must also account for March, which will be reflected in this quarter. But even though AMC has $843 million in liquidity, the company still carries a heavy debt burden. It shouldn't fool around with the ability to raise more cash without depending on its operations. So it's likely the markets will react positively to any improvement to AMC's balance sheet. Now they go on to talk about the conversion. Now, APE and AMC, obviously we know this trade. If you don't know this trade by now, I don't know where you have been over the last couple of months, but that is what is driving AMC stock right now. It's this push and pull between, is it going to go through? Is it not going to go through? Is it going to get delayed? Is there going to be something else that happens? Is there going to be a revo? Is it going to be outright denied by the judge? There's a lot of push and pull back and forth. It looks like ever since April 25th, and we got the last update from the courts, that it's going to take a while at the very minimum. Until June 29th to June 30th is going to be the next court date. So from now until then, things such as earnings, things such as technicals, things such as short interest, and other smaller factors will be important to driving AMC's share price from now until then. Now, the next court date is June 29th to June 30th. Judge Zern said she wanted to wrap this up, or she would be open to wrapping this up by that court date. That would mean you get some kind of recommendation from the special mastery that is looking over all of the letters and emails that have been sent to the courts to make a recommendation to the judge. So that means that we're probably going to get some bit of news, some bit of new update by the time June 29th comes around. And I would imagine it would be a week or two into May. So that could be this week, that could be next week, that could be the week after that. But that's the period in time you probably get a new update. So mix that with this earnings picture here, and you're going to be setting yourself up for a very big move. And that's exactly what I expect to happen with AMC stock. As you guys probably do know by now, short sellers in AMC have been losing a lot of money. They lost over $2.5 billion in Q1 alone off the cost to borrow rates, as well as AMC's stock price actually moving higher by about 30%. Now, the whole dollar amount currently sold short in AMC is about $742 million. That means they lost over 3 times the amount of their positions. 150% loss in Q1. That's unsustainable. You cannot do that every quarter, right? So this next update from the courts is going to be huge. Now, with earnings right around the corner coming on Friday, AMC stock is currently down about 2% at the time of recording this video. You are coiled. You are ready for a rally here. AMC stock above the 50 and 100-day moving averages. It's been pretty consistently straight higher. It's been not very volatile, though. I mean, the gains that you've seen have been a 4% rally, a 1% rally, a 3.5% rally, and a 2.5% rally. You're not getting like 5 to 10% or 20% moves right now. You're getting the slow and steady upside move. And I think that's going to come to an end pretty soon. I think you're going to get a big move, I think, to the upside. But it's possible you move to the downside. It's based off of what happens with earnings. If Adam Aron gives you good guidance and he says popcorn is doing great and we expect to be free cash flow positive this year or just not losing any more money, I think that's ultimately something that could send you up 20, 30, 40, 50%. Because AMC's stock is not priced for a rosy outlook here. They're priced for an outlook that involves a reverse split or AMC is going bankrupt. So anything less than that, or more than that, I should say, is going to be a positive thing. And I think we're probably going to get good earnings. We're probably going to get good guidance. So I am very excited about what I am seeing currently with AMC stock. We reported to you guys in the last video. The RSI is neutral at 55.5. The MACD is up about 5 basis points above zero. Anything above zero is positive. Anything negative is, well, negative for the overall, price action of AMC stock. They take into consideration moving averages and volume and a lot of other things. But right now, AMC stock is bullish, but neutral at best at worst, I should say, on the MACD. It is positive. The yellow line is above the blue line, but it's not like too positive. You're just seeing the first kind of move above into positive territory, which is a good thing because that tends to be a good leading indicator of a rally to come. The MACD going from negative to bullish and the RSI staying around that neutral level. Given that you have rallied, like I said, 3.5%, 1%, 3.5% again, another 2.5% on Friday, you got a lot of room to go to an upside move before you start to get some technical overbought levels. So from here, from where I sit, I think earnings are going to be good. And I think AMC is going to continue to outperform people's expectations. And I think we're going to get some good guidance, likely sending AMC stock up quite a bit, guys. So that is going to be all for this video. Let me know down below in the comment section, what do you guys think AMC is going to report on earnings? Do you think AMC stock is going to fall? Do you think it's going to rally? What do you guys think about this kind of topic that I've covered multiple times now, where AMC does tend to rally before earnings sometimes, but most of the time after earnings? You do tend to rally. If you pull this up on Webull and you got the earnings bubbles down here, I mean, you rallied after earnings almost every single time, right? March of 2021, after earnings in May of 2021, after earnings in July of 2021. The only time you did not was November of 2021, when the markets really started to roll over. In March of 2022, you rallied. In May of 2022, you slowly rallied. And then you really rallied August of 2022. You rallied in November 2022 earnings. You rallied last earnings. Last earnings, you actually rallied before earnings and sold off after earnings, since AMC did announce the plan to do this reverse split to raise capital. So you can see there was only one time that you rallied before earnings and sold off after earnings, and there was only one time that you sold off after earnings and never got a rally. Every other time, you rallied. So about 80% of the time, you rally after earnings. Those are pretty good numbers as well that I do want to leave you guys off with. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.